Hello everyone, I'm Komal Sutera and I'm going to present my analysis on COVID-19 dataset. The dataset consists of the percentage of positive peak cases on age groups and it is based on age groups. Let's take a look at the approach that has been undertaken in this analysis. Initially, you will be observing the waves, like how the COVID has been reacting with respect to positive cases. Then we will focus on the age groups, and we will focus at does the age group as a factor, how does it act as a factor uh, with respect to the positive cases, and then we will base our recommendations on these observations. So let's start. If you observe the waves, this is a devastating scenario. This scene is totally devastating, where we can see that how the cases have uh, just shooted from. If you look at January, they have just shooted to a very high level. The percentage of positive cases. This is a linear scaled graph, and it shows the percentages of the positive cases as they are. Although it's an average values, those are average values, but still the figures are grim. The analysis is grim, and bad news is uh, the trend is positive, and the forecast says that it's going to stay positive. Next, if we look at the logarithmic scale, now it might look a bit better because of the peaks. Here, this is horrifying, and this is scary because the peaks is very sharp. But here we have seen that the curve has smoothened. It's not shooting, but still the data is the same. And although it tends to smoothen the curve a little bit, but still we need to understand that it's only to uh, motivate us to understand the fact that we can look at the data from a very high level, from very far away, and understand that okay, we may need to make some further changes because the trend still stays the same. It still tends to be positive. It still tends to increase, and we are going forward with more cases coming, and so hence the storm is coming again. uh, just going through it all over it again. The peaks were in May and June in 2020, and Jan Feb in 2021. The trend is positive, and the forecast says that it's going to stay positive. The cases are going to increase. We can see that the third wave is has already started and it is increasing. We can see the dips in the between the first and second wave. There was a huge dip. We had time to understand the scenarios, different scenarios. We had time to understand the virus, but right now the virus is not giving us very long time, and it is the cases are increasing. The percentage positive cases are increasing, and they're increasing at a very high rate, and it's not giving us time. So we conclude that the current measures may not be effective enough to undergo this level of increase in cases. We really need to make some very important changes. And to make those changes, we need to have some kind of approach. We need to focus on something. We need to have a strategy. And for our strategy, we need the focal point of our analysis has been, if we look only at the age group and the percentage of positive cases, we have observed that that the ages in initial ages from 14 to 17 and 0 to 13. I repeat, 14 to 17 and 0 to 13. 14 to 17 and 0 to 13 have been affected the most. We would generally assume that the working age group would be affected, and but the analysis shows that the children have also been very felt in the during the progress of this virus. If you look at the linear scale, initially the case wasn't so. If we focus on the first wave and then focus on the second wave, if you look at the first wave, the ages from the first age group, that was 0 to 3, wasn't really have had been affected by the virus and had really low cases as compared to the other cases during the first wave, which had a peak at of 14 to 17. Still, that is a very delicate stage age as well. So we cannot we cannot like remove that from our analysis, that the 14 to 17 ages are not delicate. They are delicate and they have also been affected, and they were one of the peak ages which had a lot of positive cases. In the second wave, although that was a more griming fact came, more griming analysis has shown, which our analysis has shown, is that ages 0 to 13, I repeat again and again, I'm repeating 0 to 13, it involves really delicate children, and they have been affected with high positive cases. Their percentages are really high, and they have peaked during the second phase, that's January to March, sorry. They have peaked, and the less depressing news is that okay, the trend has fallen down, and now after May, when we see the third wave, the start of the third wave, the cases are decreasing when it comes to 0 to 13 age, but still we cannot trust that the virus will not affect them. We need to take really important and very urgent measures for this age group, for the age group 0 to 13 and 14 to 17, because if we see 14 to 17 is still at a very high risk, and along with that 18 to 24 ages are also at a very high risk. Again, when we look at a log scale, again the danger that we see, the peaks that we can observe here are lessened or kind of flattened, but still the danger remains. The storm is coming. It has already started to unfold itself, and we need to understand that first wave and was less as compared to the second wave. Second wave was huge, and the third wave is not giving us time to collect our suitcases and be prepared for it. We really need to be. It's an eye opener. The second wave is an eye opener for us, that even ages of 0 to 13 can be affected. It's leaving no one. So the dips, if you observe the dips in the log scale, we understand that ages 65 and above, we're getting less cases after July and September, but still we cannot take that for granted. We need to understand that the cases will increase. The cases are increasing, and the third wave has started, and we need to focus on the peaks, that it is the ages are, so we can understand from the data that ages are showing some sort of pattern. They are different, but they are showing different patterns. So what can we take from that? So the change is required to flatten the curve, right? We can understand the cases are increasing. There is something in the age group thing. What is there? What we can understand is that we can strategize according to the age group clusters. That is what we can focus on. If we focus on age groups 0 to 13, if we focus on strategizing according to age group 2, that is cluster 2, that is age group 14 to 17 initially, because as we have seen, they tend to increase. They tend to just, the trend might peak at a very short time span, and we may not have time to recover from that loss. And if you look at the data, the age group 0 to 13 are very varied, very largely varied, although the data is very microscopic. But for COVID, we need to be microscopic at every level. Any data is very important, is very crucial for our understanding, and we can see how the age groups have made clusters along themselves. The days have been very hard, and even through these days we can understand that this data shows that even in these hard days we can see that ages 0 to 13 have already been very varied. They are varied across the spectrum, varied across our graphs in both cases. We can look at it as a front view, and we can look at this data as a top view. Uh, the ages 18 to 24, which is going to increase in our, which are is already increasing in our wave 3, have also been severely impacted. And if we see the pattern that it goes through, uh, it's alarming, and we need to strategize according to these clusters. Okay, so what are the recommendations that we can use? Recommendations are we may try to find out what are the reasons that they are the spread is in these particular age groups, and what are the current strategies that are going through in these age groups, and we need to change those strategies. We need to make changes in those strategies. We need to work according to the clusters. We need to stick to the clusters, and for example, we can take control for the spread at the hospitals and daycares, and we need to restrict a lot of people coming there. We need to control those numbers, and we need to understand what's going on in the maternity homes. Are they separate? Are all precautions being taken care of? We really need to take care of the ICUs and maternity wings close by or not? Which nurses are taking care of both of them, or are the same similar nurses? So we really need to take care of that. Second cluster is maybe the children from 14 to 17. Maybe these children are going to playgrounds. Maybe they are not able to restrict themselves. Maybe there are some people who are staying around the hospitals. We don't know. We need to understand that the age 17 are being affected, and we need to take the precautions according to the analysis, according to the cluster. Finally, the third group, that is the group 18 to 24. This is increasing. We need to restrict the workplaces, tourist places, and community gatherings, and such places where these groups do accumulate, do get together, and they are not understanding the seriousness of the situation. If that's the case. Okay, to summarize, we have observed the two waves. We have observed the positive trend, and we observed that the forecast is positive, and we agree, we like it or not. The cases are increasing, and it will increase. And the third wave has already started. Finally, focused on our age group factor, we found patterns that in our wave 1 and wave 2, that ages 14 to 17 was peaked during that phase, and the second wave, it was is 0 to 13. That is devastating news. They were 0 to 13, and then 14 to 17 have been affected the most in the wave 2. The dip was at 65 and plus ages. Those were the less positive cases, less numbers, less percentages, and that was all around in the graph. Well, we have recommended to strategize according to the clusters. We need to strategize. We need to stick to the clusters. We need to be strategizing according to clusters, and we cannot take risks. Cannot take risks. The spread is already increasing, and the wave 3 has come. It has gone. Storm has come. We cannot. We cannot sit and think and sit and not do anything about it. We need to stricten the observe our stricten the all controls that we already have. Need to be more strict according to it. Thank you very much, and hopefully this analysis would help to increase the effectiveness and increase the focus of the strategies that we need to create. Thank you.